Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Anna, and this is Tales from the Craft Room. It has been a hot minute since I've been here, but as I posted in my little workout video a couple days ago, it was actually Friday morning when I was doing that workout, just been busy with life and other things, but I have been making some time to crochet. Now, this is not, I'm going to show you what I have in front of me. This is not everything that I have made, but this is like the stuff that I've done probably in the last 3 to 4 weeks, give or take a little bit. But first off, if you watched like the end of December, first part of January, you know that my local yarny friend and I were doing a granny square bucket hat project. I don't think I've ever shared that with you. We did get it finished. We did draw again. We've made that project. We've drawn again. We're working on our third project now. Sorry for not including you all, but I will definitely put links to all these down in the description box below for you guys. These are all free patterns. If you want to make them, that's cool. If not, that's cool too. But the first one we did, like I said, was a granny square bucket hat. And I chose to use some sparkly yarn. I got a sparkly red, a sparkly silver, and then that sparkly mauve color. So this is my bucket hat. I think it turned out really cute. And I don't know if I'm going to put it in the donation or if I'm just going to hang on to it for a rainy day. I don't know. So after this project was finished, we drew again. Finally, it took us a little bit, because local yarny friend had another project that she was working on that she needed to finish up because she was gifting it to someone. But the next project that we drew was the Hexie wall hanging. And I'm the one that dragged my feet on this one. It took me forever to get it done just because, like I said, I was dragging my feet. But it was really simple, really easy. This is what mine looks like. Super cute. Hanging on the wall. Actually, it looks pretty good right there. But this one, the granny one, we couldn't use a new skein of yarn. This one was the same way. You have to use scraps if you can, or you can't use a new skein of yarn. So I did mine. Most of this, except for the flowers on here, is yarn that I got for my birthday. Now my son and daughter-in-law gave me $20 and said for flea market or Hobby Lobby only. So we went to a flea market. I found a big, huge, like that a comforter or something would come in, a big, huge bag of scrap yarns, mostly greens and blues shades, for $8. Well worth it in my opinion, so I bought it. And then we went to Michael's after that, and they had buy 2 get 1 free. So with my leftover money that I had from the flea market, I got 3 skeins. I got 3 skeins of acrylic yarn and 1 skein of cotton yarn. So I did pay for the cotton yarn, but the acrylic was, the buy 2 get 1 free, and then I did pay for the cotton one. The acrylic ones, I don't have them with me, but I got the because Michael's took on part of Joann's, and I can't remember, Big Twist maybe is what the Joann's brand was. Whichever the Joann's brand was. I got a neon pink, a neon orange, I think a neon either yellow, green, or blue. I can't remember. But I got the 3 neon colors. What am I going to do with them? I don't know, but I wanted them. And then I also got a skein of cotton. It's the Patriot stripes or patriotic stripes or something like that. But I will show that to you in just a moment, what I've done with part of that. But anyway, here's each one of my little Hexies. For some reason, these are all the same size and everything, same hook, but my 2 middle ones turned out a little bit smaller than the other 2. And it was just a 2-color one, so I got the blue and the green, and then the blue and the green, and then the green and it's kind of a lavender color, and then the green and the lavender color. And then I made the little flowers and I put beads on them. I put more petals on my flowers than what the pattern actually called for, because I thought that's how it looked the best. And then, like I said, in the middle, I decided to put little beads in the middle of mine. And I just tied them through the back, try to put the beads and fasten them on. So there is my Hexie, Hexie wall hanging, I think, and I'll put a link to this one down in the description box below for you guys. This one is actually in a crochet magazine that is on archive.org. It is free. You do have to have an account, which is free to do in order to access the book that this pattern is in. But like I said, there's no charge for doing that. So there is my second project with my local yarny friend. Like I said, for my birthday, I got some yarn. I decided with the cotton, which they had not very much cotton, but it was within range of what I had left with my money. But the only variegated one they had was, I think it's Patriotic Stripes or something like that. But I got it because, I wanted the cotton because I want to make some more knit dishcloths. More like washcloths, because I don't like washing dishes with these because they're just too cool. So this is what I did. This is a granny's favorite dishcloth. It's the corner to corner one that goes bottom to top. This being the top, this being the bottom. So my only problem with this is it needs more red and blue and less white. But that's how this turned out. Super simple pattern. Real easy to find on the internet. It's just grandma's favorite dishcloth. I made quite a few of these, and I really like them for, you know, bathing, not doing dishes. So there's that one. The other thing that I've been doing is extending some of the mom hats that are almost long enough, but not quite long enough. I've been taking sometimes yarn that I have in my scrap tote. Sometimes I use yarn from a hat that is just way too small. There's no way that I would want to make it bigger, if that makes sense. And I will say, sister went and seen mom. She brought me a giant, huge bag of hats. And I can't remember, there's like 63 or 64 hats in that, in about 45 or 50-ish, somewhere in there, are all big enough around. They're just a little too short. So they are either just the right length or they're just a little too short, and I'll have to add a few rows to the bottom of it, which that's amazing because the last several times that I've been getting hats that my sisters brought back to me from mom, they've been too small. So yeah, I have a large variety of hats to work with, and I think at this point, with what I have from her so far, we are getting really close to the halfway point for the 100 hats for preschool, and it appears that mom is going to make a majority of them again this year. Yay! But that's okay because I've been working on other donations. I did, and these pictures are all on my Instagram, I did participate in a donation for a local boys shelter. They had, what did they say, 20 boys or something like that, 15 boys. I didn't want to do all of them, but they were speaking my language. So I think I donated like 10 hats or something like that. Most of which I had made on my Addy. But those are already donated. And when the lady came to pick those up from me to take into the shelter to donate them, she brought me some more yarn. She brought me the yarn that nobody else wanted. But she brought me a bunch of baby yarn, which is okay. And some red heart. There's like the neon orange and I think a dark green or something. And then she brought me some white yarn. I can't remember. It's an acrylic blend, but it's white yarn, and I think she brought me something else. But I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll figure out something to do with it. I think I know what I want to do with that white. I'm thinking I want to mix it with my neon colors, but we'll find out when the time gets here. But anyway, I've been working to make mom hats a little bit longer. I have quite a few here. I think this is all that I've done because these were the only ones that were in my box. I've got a good sized box that I've been putting stuff in. So the first one I did, I finished off this knit hat that I had started last year. It's not quite long enough, but I think it'll be all right. I'm not sure what happened as to why it's not long enough. Maybe I didn't measure enough. I don't know, but I have plenty of yarn because, well, I still have tails, as you can see. Another thing that I did was I did not use the DPNs to decrease this hat. I did decrease a little bit, but obviously I didn't go high enough. So, but anyway, here's this one. It is really cute. I do like it. It will definitely fit a smaller preschool, or might fit a preschool child just real well. But anyway, that's what it looks on the inside. And I just carried my yarn up. I was trying to be fancy with it. There are some boo-boos. But let's see, where's it at? There it is. There's why I carried my yarn up. But yeah, this one turned out pretty good. I did it with just regular circular knitting needles. I'm glad it is finally finished, because when this was finished, then I had the circular needles to make this with. Yay! Which the washcloth is going to be mine. This hat will go in the donation. So there's that one. And then here are the ones that I have done with the mom hats. This one here was the top, and I finished it off with this right here. I did finish undoing this hat today, and I noticed, which I put it on here before I figured it out because I wasn't paying attention. I just thought those colors went really good together. But the red, white, blue color one, that is actually a cotton yarn, which it stretches just fine. It's got plenty of stretch on the band of the hat. But I did take those apart today with the rest of the hat I was taking that off of, and I wound them up into separate balls, because I take the cotton and I put it with my cotton yarn because I don't really like using the cotton with the hats. Personal preference, mixing the fibers. But anyway, there is one hat that I did, finished up with the mom hat. Turned out really super cute. Here is another one that I did. Mom did the top part, I added the bottom part. This is like a darker gray and a lighter gray. And with these, I did some earlier, and I think I showed them to you possibly, but I did some earlier with Tunisian simple stitch. These are just a single crochet in the back loop, which I'm pretty sure that's what Mom did, now that I've taken a few of her hats apart, because, did I do it with this one? Yes, I did. With this one, I've been undoing or not, and then just, this one's not tied all the way, but just starting with the next color, that way I can tie these and snip them and finish them off. But yeah, I did this one. The next one I did was, this one was like a dark gray, and then a variegated blue, goes into blue into turquoise. And then I finished it off with the gray, the two-tone gray that I had, and then I ran out of the darker color gray, so I put some brown on there, which I think it looks pretty cool, like that. And I did the same, did I do the same thing with this one? Yeah, I did the same thing with this one. The earlier ones that I did, I left her knot there and just started at the end of that knot, but I decided I didn't like that method, so I've been trying to do it this other way, which is not too hard. Like this one here. Yeah, this one is another one that I finished off. I put the last 3 rows on to make it long enough, but it does have some of the Halloween yarn that I gave her, the Hirschner's. It's probably candy corn, being that it's yellow, white, and orange. But it is sparkly, and she mixed it with a gray. And then it's a similar gray on the bottom, not quite. But this is one that I just left her knot. That was a knot that she did. And then I just continued on with my project. But I decided not to do it that way because I don't like the way it looks. Here is one that I finished off today. I like this. This is that same... No, it's not. This is a different blue, too, like a blue and a gray. And then I finished it off with a green and a blue, or green and a turquoise. But I like the way that one turned out. It does have a little wonky spot on here, but you know. I always tell them that my mom made the hats and that she's almost 80. Well, by the time these are turned in, she will be 82 years old. So that just kind of makes it sound even cooler that, you know, the hats are kind of wonky. And this is another one that I finished off today. This one screams unicorn to me because of the color combination that she used. This is a lavender with a variegated blue. It goes dark to light and then starts going dark. And then I added this pink and the same variegated that she has. This was another hat that she had that was too small. And I just you know, started unraveling and added to this. But I thought this looks, you know, like I said, it screams unicorn, and it does have a couple of funky spots on it too, but that's okay because she made it, and she made it to give to the kids because that's what, in her mind, that's what she's doing. She's making hats to give to the kids at the preschool. Bless her heart. So now the next thing is when the lady brought that extra yarn when she picked up the hats for the boys shelter, the baby yarn, she said, well, you've done hats for Ronald McDonald House in the past. We thought maybe you could use the baby yarn to make these hats. And I'm like, sure, I can do that. So that gave me an idea. We're going to make hats for Ronald McDonald House. How many hats? I don't know. I'm going to fill the bag. So I have this bag. It's like what a sheet set would have come in probably. And I've decided I'm going to fill this bag, and when the bag gets full, I'm going to turn them in. The crochet group that I gave the hat donation to, I did post that if anybody would like to help with this, I have no designated time frame of when I'm going to turn these in, just when my bag gets full. And if anybody would like to help, then they're more than welcome to either make the preemie octopus or make preemie hats to add to my donation. So right after she brought that to me, I got busy, and these are the hats that I made that first week. This first hat here, I decided to try some nooking. Nooking came across my YouTube feed, and I'm like, that looks interesting. Which technically I have done that before, because when I was knitting with the Tunisian crochet hook, doing it in, or not the crochet hook, the extended, my Denise extended Tunisian crochet hooks, when I took the little cap off the end of my cable and was just going around and flipping the stitches off the end, technically that was like nooking. So, and I thought I'd discovered something new that nobody had done before, but silly me, it's already been done. But anyway, this was just kind of winging it. I did not have an exact pattern because I am going for a certain size of hat. Most of my hats I do between 4 and 6 pound preemies, because that's what my local Ronald McDonald House said they use the most of. So I want to try and, you know, get hats within that range. This was kind of winging it. I used a pattern for the rough idea of how many stitches, and I actually made this flat via nooking. And I will say that other than where I goofed because I got my knits and purls mixed up, because it's not exactly the same as crochet or knitting when you do nooking, but I think this turned out really good. The top looks kind of different, and the seam is absolutely horrible, but I'm sure it will be just fine. And I wasn't happy. There is not a whole lot of stretch on the brim, but I think it'll be all right. And here's the inside for those who want to know. It looks pretty good. You can see where I seamed it up. I seamed it up all wrong, which I'm aware of that. I'm not real proficient in seaming knitting projects. And I do still have tails as usual. I'll take care of those later. But I did that one. And then the next one, I also tried to do just a regular Tunisian crochet one. This is the Tunisian, this one is a little bit bigger. But this is just a Tunisian simple stitch using some, like the blue with the pretty little thread running through it, and then a variegated that they were giving me. Here's what the inside looks like. I did this Tunisian extended simple stitch on this. So really this could be worn either direction. There's the top of it. So there's that one that I did. And then with this one I was trying to get fancy, and I decided I didn't like the way it looked because I do mine top down, except the Tunisian one and the knit one, those were bottom up. But all the rest of these that I'm going to be showing you are top down. But I tried to get a little fancy right in here, and I decided I didn't like it. So I just went, oh, this was Tunisian crochet as well. Yeah, what did I do there? I don't know what I tried to do there, but I did something, tried to do something fancy right there with the Tunisian crochet, and then decided I didn't like it. So I just finished it off normal. But here's the inside of the hat with all the tails to take care of later. Yeah, no big deal. And then I've got just a regular crocheted one. This is in the back loops with that blue with the little thread running through it. And this one is a little bigger than I like, but it'll be fine. Like I said, I'm going for a range. So it will be fun. This one's kind of, I was trying to be fancy with this again and do different stitches. But this one I did a combination of single, double, and half double crochets. I don't like the way this one turned out, but it is fun. It will work. So, it's purple and yellow, because I got purple, yellow, blue, and white. Purple, yellow, blue, and white, I believe, is the colors that I got of the baby yarn. Oh, and a variegated. So, and once again, I carried my yarn up the back in the middle, or up the middle there in the back, whatever. There's that one. And then I got really fancy with this. This is with the yellow, and then I did the chain tracks on the bottom to give it a little thing. I think it needs a flower or a bow or something. That'll be a last minute thing that I do if I decide to do it. I might just leave it like that because that is super cute. But I do think like a bow or something on that. This is that variegated blue that I was telling you about that I got. I did this one in back loops as well. I like that variegated. So those are the ones that I did that first week, which I believe that was the week we had snow. That's been about a month ago. And then I dilly-dallied and didn't do anything and didn't do anything and didn't do anything. And then these are all ones that I made last weekend in no particular order. This is like a turquoisey color, a mint green, and then this is the white. The white has that little shiny thread running through it, kind of like the blue, but this is a thinner weight than anything else that I have. Well, that's not true, but it is a thinner weight than the other baby yarn that I was given. So there's that one, just a minty one with a little white band in the middle. This one is all minty. Yeah, this one is like kind of bling bling. This is red, green, and gold. Here's one that is all white. The white that has a little thread going through it. Super cute. I don't know, I think this one might need a flower or something on it too to kind of brighten it up instead of just being plain boring white. This one here is just the double crochet in the back loops. This is a variegated blue that I have. It's not a baby yarn. This one is not a baby yarn either. It's just like a 3-weight yarn. Here is another one that I did with the blue that has a little sparkly thread. This is a heavier, this is like a 4-weight baby yarn, where everything else is more like a 3. This is one that I did. I really like this one. This is one that I did in the back bump. Not the part, the V where the chain is, but the back bump of that stitch. I think that turned out amazing. I like that. And then here's this one. And then the last one I have, I downloaded a different pattern off the Yarnspirations website for a preemie hat. Because this pattern, the first pattern that I have that I used last year when I was making them as well, is all double crochet. This pattern here is half double crochet, I think. It's either half double or single. I think it's single crochet. But anyway, I like the way this hat looks. It looks way different than this hat with the stitches. So yeah, I have 2 patterns now that I can do preemie hats with in the size that I like. I've got that figured out, which hook I need to use for different types of yarn so that I can get them into the size that I want. So that is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 preemie hats that I've made in the last month. I'm well on my way to filling up the bag. I still have quite a ways to go. But I'm looking forward to getting some more preemie hats made, and definitely looking forward to working on finishing off some more mom hats. These are like a quick project because most of the work's already done for me. At the most, I think I've added 5 rows. Usually it's 3 to 4 rows to make the hats where they fit me down to below my ears. So anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you've enjoyed seeing some of the projects that I have completed in the last month or so, give or take, month and a half. Hopefully, I can hop back in here sooner than a month again. Fingers crossed. But if not, I will also put my link to my Instagram down below, or how you can find me on Instagram if you're on there, and then you can see the projects that I've been making, because I try to post those on Instagram at least once a week when I get stuff done. So thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for watching my video, and I will see you in my next one.